This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There you go. By the way, Beer Noob says being greered means being made to look like a fool if you deny his contract skills. So apparently now Tua ranks number 4? Number 3 overall, and he's at 53-1, right ahead of Jared Goff, 53. So that all this negotiation was, come on, Chris. We just want $100,000 more than that guy, Jared Goff. Come on. All right, there you go. Here's $100,000, and that's it. So there you go. They got it done. By the way, it looks to me, Manny, I know you different team, but looks like a team-friendly deal. Like they didn't really sign like people were afraid of some crazy-ass deal or something. Wasn't too crazy overall. I don't know if you saw it.
I'm looking at the numbers now, and I guess I don't know how this puts them up against the cap going forward or how much room they'll have. I know Tyreek Hill's supposed to be done after this next season, right?
Yep.
So they'll have money to spend, right? Still, even with him signed. So it's not debilitating. And I think that's the most important thing.
No, not at all. Not at all. You all right, bro?
Hey, man, you know that song "I See Red"? Right,
yes.
that country. I was seeing red for about the last 45 minutes. My 9-year-old daughter. Oh, I'm sure this has probably happened to you at some point or another. Except my 9-year-old is really good at this. This is the 3rd time she's done this to me at a water park, where I tell her, Olivia, meet me at 2:30. I got to go upstairs. I got to go do the Big O Show at 3:00. Make sure you come back. Oh, Dad, I got one more ride. I want to go down one more slide, one more time. I got this friend. I said I'll be back in a few minutes. 2:30 rolls around, 2:45, 3:00, and the panic father in me, because my wife is working upstairs in the room. My 13-year-old daughter's with her aunt doing something else. It's just the two of us in this gigantic water park. And now I got to call my wife at 3:00 and say, guess what? Olivia's missing again. So pretty tense moments. We got security. I ran around the park 3 times myself, couldn't find her. Security and my 13-year-old who came running over to look for her found her. So she's safe, but I am late to the show because of it. So I apologize. Olivia was having a little bit too much fun here in Great Wolf Lodge.
Yeah. That is, kids, bro. Kids they'll mess with you a little bit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of it's scary, bro.
It is scary. It is. I started to panic. 3:00 and I started to panic. I said, wait a minute. This is not. She knows at 3:00 I had to be on with you, and she says, Dad, I got caught up. I was having fun. I said, well, I told you 2:30. So she'll be grounded. There'll be some consequences out of this. So you got to discipline. But for me, it was not fun the last 45 minutes.
All right, brother. All right, let's get your. I can imagine your heart was here in your throat, but let's get your mind off of it. Camp opens up next week. Mark Fletcher, Akeem Mesidor, the Maui Goas. Obviously, Zion ends up retiring. Talk to us a little bit about where all these players stand.
Yeah, remember, if you go back to spring football, there were about 30 guys, I think, that had surgery. A lot of them shoulder surgery, labrum type stuff, and they were held out. Francisco Mauigoa told me him and his brother both had shoulder surgery, and they're both ready to go for the start of camp. Mark Fletcher was the big one everybody was worried about. He injured his shoulder and his ankle. And Mario told me and a couple of other people who were up here on the beat that he'll be ready to go for the start of camp. Maybe slow played into it, but in terms of not missing the first game, he will not miss the first game, which is good news because that's your depth right behind Damian Martinez. And then Akeem Mesidor is a guy who was really a special player for Miami 2 years ago when they got him for West Virginia. He led the team in tackles for loss, was among the leaders in sacks, and then missed basically all but 2 games last year. And he'll be ready to go. He's got his new shoes. And Mario's expecting him to go, which is all good news because you need depth. If you're going to be a special team that wins the conference or makes the college football playoff, you need depth, and that's quality depth, those guys.
All right, good stuff there. And then, of course, Restrepo. Talk to me a little bit about that because it looks like, I know he's getting a lot of attention, but I'm hoping that somebody can take some pressure off of him, too, from that receiving core.
Yeah, well, that's why Miami went out and got Sam Brown. Cam Ward talked about that. Just as far as needing another guy who could really beat man coverage. Restrepo's great at finding holes in the zone and getting open and creating. He was consistent last year. I thought he was a 1,000-yard receiver. Miami hadn't had one of those in a while. He was just super consistent, and Sam Brown gives him a different element. Really fast, can go out and make some great over-the-shoulder grabs. You got Jacoby George back. You got Isaiah Horton, who they're expecting big things from. So this is a deep receiver core. But the one thing I got to say about Xavier is I do this survey, and the ACC survey that'll be coming out next week on Monday to tease something in The Athletic. Every year, where I ask the players, who's the guy you respect the most in the league? Who's the best player that's not on your team? And I had about 6 or 7 guys mention Xavier Restrepo. Just as a guy that they admire. They said he's super great character, and these are guys that don't even play with him. So the fact that other guys are picking up off of that and feel that in the game tells you why it is that he's so valuable. And the one thing I got to say is he's one of the holdovers from Manny Diaz, right? We talk about this being Mario's roster.
Right.
He's the one guy, in terms of the best players that Manny Diaz recruited that is a contributor and is still part of this team. So kudos to him, to Xavier, for the way that he's grown as a player. And the fact that so many guys mentioned him to me when I asked who's the best player in the league.
He's a tough kid.
Yeah.
That's why people respect that. Like, you know that he's not as gifted as a bunch of other guys, but then he makes up for it with his cojones, with his toughness, and he's pretty durable also for a small guy. He's kind of a tough guy. So you respect all of that. Nobody will ever say that they don't respect Xavier Restrepo. We can argue and say, well, hey, bro, that he shouldn't be your number one wide receiver, but that's not his fault, dude. That's
right.
Whatever. But you got to respect reliability, availability, and toughness, and smarts, and leadership, and he has all of that, dude.
100%, and I thought it was pretty cool. I just wanted to share that because I do that survey every single year. A lot of people obviously mentioned Cam Ward and Ruben Bain as well, as far as best players in the conference, as far as Miami guys are concerned. But I thought it was kind of unique to hear that so many guys feel that way about Xavier Restrepo, don't even play with him.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right. Also, we got a bunch of former coaches in the ACC. So which one of the former coaches really wants to kick Mario's ass?
Well, it's definitely Manny Diaz, right? At Duke, you would think that he's got that game circled on the calendar. I asked a few of the Duke guys, how bad they need to win that game, go on the road and win in Miami, and they didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Manny was asked in front of me and some other guys at the end of his breakout session with the reporters just about the game and how weird is it going to be to go back to Miami to face the guy who replaced you. And he said all the right things, as far as being happy where he is at Duke. Didn't really get into his time at Miami, but I will say this: we can start the hype train for that game with Mario, because if he loses to Manny Diaz at home to Duke, a Duke team that, by the way, was shredded in the transfer portal. They lost Riley Leonard, they lost their best pass rusher, R.J. Oben, they lost all kinds of guys. Their leading rusher, who was all ACC, went to NC State. They were depleted after Mike Elko left. I think Manny Diaz will do fine at Duke. I do. I don't think he's going to be a bad coach. He's a good defensive coach, and I'm sure he learned something from the first go-around at Miami. But hey, man, there's no way Miami can lose that Duke game, and no. I think it's something that we can certainly look forward to. And it was funny just kind of talking to guys about it the last couple of days.
It's just harder to win there because, bro, the kids really have to hit the books hard in that place.
Yeah.
And that's, not only do you have to find good football players, but you're gonna have to find, scholars, people that really want to get an education. That's not really some of these football players. They're just looking to play on Sundays. Even if they have no shot, they still think in their minds that they're going to do it. All right, what do you got going on in the Athletic, my friend, so folks can check you out?
Yeah, a lot of stuff, a lot of coverage from ACC Media Days. If you go and check it out, I wrote a Cam Ward feature yesterday. We're going to have that ACC survey. I wrote something about SMU, Stanford, and Cal, the new teams that have just joined the conference. So there'll be plenty to read there, and I'll do a podcast as soon as I get back. And then camp, it's starting next week already. I think Thursday, Mario told me Wednesday, I think everybody arrives or checks in, and then they can start practicing 2 days later. So it'll be either Thursday or Friday next week when they finally get going. And we'll start having some information coming out of camp as far as who's really healthy and who isn't, right? Because that's the first thing you focus on is, wait a minute, where is that guy? So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to it. We'll finally have some real stuff to talk about.
You got it. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and subscribe to The Athletic. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, bro.
You got it. And don't forget, Caneswear. Go to the website, caneswear.com. You could use our code BIGO10. You will get 10% off in person or online. And remember, if you live out of town and you can only buy online Heat, Dolphins, Panthers, Marlins, and Hurricane gear there at Miami Fanwear at Caneswear, remember, over $99, you'll get free shipping. And you can still use our code BIGO10 to get 10% off at caneswear.com. Michelle Kaufman is next.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.